My husband doesn't know that I know what he's up to. My 33F husband, 34M, and I had our first baby back in June of last year. My husband's aunt gifted our son a lovely chunky knitted blanket. The blanket is so soft, and I have made multiple comments about how I would like to find a full-size blanket just like it because it is so cozy and I'm kind of jealous of my baby. Well, this past weekend my husband snuck off to the store. He refused to tell me where he was going and why, but I later found a plastic bag with the logo of a local crafting store. That evening, DH stated that he would like to have an hour of alone time every night after our son goes to sleep. He stressed that he would not like to be disturbed, but if I needed him then I could text him. I agreed to this because we are both adjusting to have very little me time since the birth of our son. Last night, during his alone time, our son started crying. I checked the baby monitor and saw that he had simply lost his pacifier and was going back to sleep. However, the baby monitor also shows part of our son's room, not just his crib. In the corner of his room I saw my husband sitting on the floor with a bunch of chunky yarn in front of him. I turned the volume up and heard that he was watching a YouTube video on how to finger knit. This sweet man is making me a blanket. He absolutely loves surprising me but is terrible at keeping secrets. I just know that he is going to slip up and accidentally mention something about the blanket at some point. I plan on acting clueless so that I will still be surprised when he gives it to me. I just love him so much and I'm so delighted that he's learning a new skill so I can have a custom blanket. Comments from the first post. OMG, the title makes this sound like it could have been something else. But it's so cute. Also, why do men seem to always forget about the baby monitor? Because he isn't being deceptive. If anything, he has allowed her to know that he isn't up to anything by being in the view of the baby monitor. He's being very transparent about this surprise gift, and I love this for Op. It is something I will steal and do for my partner when we have kids. Thank you for this lovely post and sweet story that is restoring some of my faith in marriage and humanity today. Please, please, please don't let me come back in several weeks to an update that he used the blanket to pay off of a gambling debt, gave it to his best friend's ex for her birthday, or made it into a furry suit for himself. Update. Brief backstory. I posted recently about how I checked the baby monitor while my son was sleeping and saw my husband sitting on the floor of my son's room finger knitting a blanket for me after I made a comment on how I wanted a chunky blanket. My sweet husband broke. He kept on mentioning that he was working on a surprise for me. I would occasionally ask what this mysterious project was, and he would get a cheeky smile and say, "I can't tell you." That eventually evolved into him repeatedly telling me that keeping the surprise was really hard, and he wanted to just tell me. I kept saying, "No, you've kept it a surprise for this long, you can keep going." But one day after dinner, he decided he couldn't keep it in anymore. He showed it to me. It was only about 1/4 done, but it was lovely. The yarn was really soft and was my favorite color. I could tell he had taken his time because of the consistency of all the loops. Even unfinished, it was perfect. He told me that he kept moving it around to different hiding spots, but since our house is very small, it was only a matter of time before I accidentally found it. He said he had run out of yarn and asked if I wanted to pick out another color to add to it. I said yes, and we made a little date out of it. We grabbed lunch and then walked around the craft store before I picked out a complementary color to the one he chose. He hasn't had much time to work on it the last few days, but he assured me it will be finished by my birthday. I'll post a picture of the blanket when it's finished. For now, I am wildly impressed with how long he kept it a secret, and I'm so excited to have my first ever handmade blanket.